Guys, what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about this little guy in my front pocket. This is the BOKER KAIZEN, and I'm going to show it to you here at the table because it's not very big, and so you get a better view of it. This came from Jared, and I did not expect to like this knife as much as I do. It is pretty awesome. So let's turn this around. We're going to look at it from above. I really do love this knife a lot, so it's going to get a glowing review. So let's take a look at it from above. Guys, like I said in the intro, I am as surprised as you are that I like this. What is this? Well, this is the BOKER Plus KAIZEN, and today's first day in pockets, and I'm going to tell you, I really like this little knife. I am so surprised. It is absolutely something that should just not be anything I like, but I love it. So let's go ahead, before we get any further, let's do some size comparisons. Your first knife is going to be the CJRB Rhea, one of my favorite gentleman's folders of all time. And you can see it's just a little bit longer, but this is a very small knife. You can see the CJRB Rhea is not a very big knife. So there's your first one, CJRB Rhea. Your next one's going to be the Ferrum Forged Knife Works Gent. As you can see, another nice gentleman's folder, decent size, and this is still longer, but much smaller. This thing it's definitely unique. So your final knife, as always, is going to be the Chris Reeve Sebenza Large 21. You can see this is a little knife. I have to say, first day in pockets, this is the most fun I've had in a first day in pockets in a long time. So let's get this out of the way and talk about this little guy right here. So now when I did the unboxing of this, I sent Jared a quick picture and I was like, I don't know why, I'm not sure, but I really like this knife. And he told me, he's like, I figured it would be either you loved it or you hated it. So this is gonna be a short video because there's not a lot I've really done with this knife, so there's not a lot to talk about. But it has been in my pocket since I got up at 6 this morning. It's now 10. And I'm gonna tell you the things I really like about this. Is tiny. I really like the fact it is so tiny, and it's got such a unique look. These huge pivot collars on this tiny, well, I say huge, but they're just pivot collars for most knives, but this is a tiny little knife. It's got this fish scale style handle, and it is a flipper. It's not a nail nick knife. It has almost a completely invisible flipper. You put your finger here, and just roll it out and it flips out. It's got really good action. You have this tiny slender little blade done in D2 steel that has a really nice swedge on it. And I have to say, they did a really good job using the right blade stock on a narrow blade so that they still had a really good behind the edge thickness. This is really thin behind the edge, and it actually does cut pretty well for a small knife. Let's look at the difference. Now, you guys have heard me talk about it. The distance from spine to apex is what allows you to have a good thin behind the edge geometry for cutting. So what you have to do is you have to bridge that gap between blade stock thickness, width of blade, to get a knife that slices really well. And they've done a good job of this. It's got some jimping that we'll talk about that. We're talking about the good things now. It's got a lanyard hole in the back here that doesn't bother me because you can put like a key fob type lanyard on this. You could almost carry this on your keychain and then have a relatively decent keychain knife. Most of your keychain knives are all garbage. This is not bad at all. So besides just the way it looks and everything like that, it's really functional. They've given you really awesome access to the lock bar. Even on such a small knife, they've done a good bit of weight reduction inside the liners. And then these are, I believe they're G10. I haven't looked anything up on this. Actually, that may be micarta. I'm not sure. It's probably G10 scales. On that lightning, this thing almost doesn't exist when it's in your hand. It doesn't take up any pocket space. I can actually carry this with 2 other knives in my front pocket. That's how small it is. But the action on it is really good. There's really good smooth action. Pocket clip isn't my favorite kind of pocket clip, but I don't know how they, but it's not a hotspot. It just happens to sit in my hand where in use it's not a hotspot. And the overall package is really attractive. You got this big, you have this end cap on this piece down here where you only have really just these screws. You have this screw and your pivot. There's only 2 screws on this holding it together. And then, like I said, really good access to that liner on that liner lock. So there's a lot of fun things about this. There are a few bad things. So flip side of the knife, flip side of the story. These are the things that I've noticed first day in pocket. So let's go ahead and look at the couple of little bad things I've noticed. Okay, let's talk about the few little bad things because I'm surprised there's not a lot. The jimping is very, very soft. It didn't even need to be there. It does not do anything. There's not a sharp edge on that. As you can see, it's been softened over. And it's not functional. It's just there for looks. I don't like the way jimping looks, so that's for me a bad thing. The other thing, a couple of other little things, it's awkward to do any heavy cutting with. It really is kind of awkward with such a small knife to do any heavy cutting, but that's not what this was designed for. This is absolutely an office folder where you can use this as a letter opener. Next thing, the way they did this flipper tab, they basically did it with a your lock bar cutout, your radius on the lock face is what is your flipper, and it can be a little sharp if you have soft hands. I'm not gonna say it's a little, it's pretty sharp. Even for me, I can feel it sharp. You can get on it a little further down, which is a little harder to do, but if you get all the way up on that sharp spot right there, it flips out. And then just a small little gripe, the amount of lock bar tension. Even though the lock bar is comfortable and it carries well in pocket, lock bar tension is a little tight with this very, very textured fish scale pattern. And so I believe, I have a feeling that this would tear up pockets pretty easily. It's pretty aggressive texturing on that. And then that is a pretty strong clip. I did notice it did not want to go in jeans real well. If this was mine, I would probably loosen a little bit of the lock bar tension. You can see that lock bar is thick stock. It's almost as thick as the blade stock on this. So yeah, overall, this is a really interesting little knife, and I'm glad Jared sent it. I like to see new and interesting things. I did not think I would like this. And then I opened it, and then I played with it for a little bit, and then I put it in pocket today, and I'm going to tell you, this is a winner in my book. I really like this. I think I need to do a video of knives I didn't think I would like. So yeah, let's go ahead. That's all I've got on this one. It's just first day in pockets. I'm trying to get some footage and stuff all filmed so that there's no lapse when I'm not able to film while I'm staying at the hotel. So I might be able to figure something out while I'm there, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So, all right, guys, let's turn this around and do some final thoughts. So there you go, guys, the BOKER KAIZEN. I'm so glad Jared sent this along. This is not a knife I would have sought out on my own, and I'm going to tell you right now, I love it. It's going to spend a lot of time in pocket. You guys are going to get to see this a couple more times before I send it back to Jared because it's just so much fun, and I love when I get a knife that brings back the fun of the knife hobby, because sometimes you just get stuff and you're like, yeah, it's just like everything else I've had. This is not. It is new, it's unique, it's fun, and I dig it. So I love when I get that renewed enthusiasm in what I'm doing here. So guys, that's it on this one. There's not much else to talk about. First day in pockets, you'll see this some more. We will definitely do a full review. If you want to support the channel, it's as simple as like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, hit the bell icon. If you do hit the bell icon, make sure you've got notifications turned on your device or you will not get notified of everything. And make sure you've got your bell set to all because I'm doing 2 videos a day. You know what's going on with the whole fumigation thing. So other ways you can support the channel if you want to do it financially, there's a bunch of ways. We'll run through it real quick. I have a ton of affiliate links. It's like self-sponsorship. Anything you purchase with any of my affiliate links down below does not cost you anything at checkout, and it directly supports the channel. There are a couple of them that have discounts, Atlas VPN and Coffee Brand Coffee. If you want to join my membership, it's tier-based. There's 3 tiers. Everyone has access to my Gilded server, which is just like Discord. Baseline and premium tier members are automatically entered into giveaways I do on the Gilded server. And premium tier members have access to a sharpening tutorial series here on YouTube I built for them. It's behind a paywall. And the final way you can do all this and support the channel is I have a membership store. I have a merchandise store on Ember Shirt Co. The final way you can do it is I have a merchandise store on Ember shirt code. There's a link to it in the description below. You can pick up my merchandise or other creators' merchandise at a discount with the coupon code CrazySharp, capital C, capital S, CrazySharp saves you 10% at checkout. Guys, I love y'all. Keep it clean in the comment section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. I will see you in the next video.